Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we've all been waiting for. I'm going to sweat my balls off on ACC, and I'm going to go from racing in my room to racing in real life. Well, here's the first video to that series. I've spent a long time editing it. I put a lot of love into it, trying to make it a good video. So if you could go ahead and like the video if you do enjoy it, that would be much appreciated. You know, tell a friend, share it with your fellow sim racer buddies. I'm not going to do too much talking. I'm going to let the video speak for itself. My first competitive sim race. So do get comfy, get yourself a drink, do get yourself a snack. Please enjoy.
Alright, so here we go. Starting off this little qualifying lap. Over the line we go. Keeping all the way over onto the left-hand side of the track. See the tarmac there on the left? We're braking just after that. We're trying to brake in one nice smooth motion around this corner. Trying to get it close to that apex on the right, which we hit. And then we power all the way onto the left, making use of those track limits there on the left. Bringing it back right. Easing it, tapping the brake down into that left-hander. And then second gear just to get the rotation around that right-hander there. Being nice and careful into this corner. Not doing anything too sudden with the pedal, seeing as we are going left, right, left, right, left, right. But really just trying to get the car to rotate through this first twisty section of the track. As we come into the left-hander and start to power our way up onto the hill. Just keeps going left, keeps going left, so obviously just foot to the floor through there. Looking for this 50-meter marker here, braking just before that, easing onto the curb. Not really maximising that entry, but we invalidated 2 laps on that corner before, so that's why we went a bit softer through there. Now coming up to this hairpin here, this hairpin I do struggle with. We're braking sort of halfway through the bend on the curb on the right there, trying to bring it in nice and tight. Get into that apex early and try and power out, so we go all the way over to the right hand side of the track here, which we do quite well. And if we just full power out, we're trying to use as minimum steering as possible, just trying to give that car as much excuse to go as quickly as it can as possible. Keeping to the right over here, braking just before that tarmac on the right into third gear, just sort of letting the car ease itself round because we want to set this part of the corner up quite well. Come into the apex here, we do have a little bit of oversteer and I do mess it up with the correction, so it does obviously impact our run down this straight here. As we come up to the fastest corner on the track being that 130R, so we just stay foot to the floor looking to reach 150, maybe even 160 miles an hour before we get to the braking marker. 50-meter board on the right, brake, tap into the thing, we actually hit 130, so we do 130, do 130R as we brake just before this Yamaha board above our head, as we bring it over onto the curb here on the right, same on the left, taking up that curb and then just flat out on that curb on the right, bringing it all the way around up to the finish line. So as we come down the final straight, not this line but the next line coming up, obviously we'll set our lap time and we finish here going from a lovely P15 to a P7. So last second, 7th place with a 2:04.872.
Okay, so qualifying out of the way, and we are just wiggling left and right on the race start, getting the tyres nice and warm, getting the brakes nice and warm, and sort of getting ready for what to be. We got 20 minutes of racing around Suzuka here. Obviously a 2:04.8 that I got in qualifying is certainly not my quickest lap. I've gone a lot quicker around here in this McLaren before. So it'd be interesting to see going around where we'll stack up. Are we going to be able to get up ahead of some of these cars up in front? If I pull my finger out, are we gonna get caught up in any sort of traffic? What's any of these cars behind us saying? You know, there's a lot of cars in here. Obviously, we're all here to get some position. So going into the first corner is always a little bit chaotic. But we line up here. It's got tyres nice and warm, brakes nice and warm. And we sit patiently waiting for that green light to go, and it does. As soon as I say it, we get straight in second gear, we get whizzing down. I mean, look at all these cars that we got bunched up as we come close up to that Big Mac BMW, straight through that long right hander, and really just trying to cement ourselves into our position. We are quite close to the front. And then I think as we swap over here into the cockpit cam, we see them having a little battle. The NSX goes wide and he just twists me around, spins me out. I get third party from a fight that has got literally nothing to do with me, and I make that face as I sit at my setup, trying to get back onto the ground. As we get back on the road, we get these two cars just whiz by us, and McLaren is not hanging about. But this Lambo, I start catching up to him basically a corner later. I mean, my foot was so flat to the floor because I was so irritated with how I just got spun out that I was not letting anyone stop me from getting through. We get past the Lambo with ease, and we sort of followed, obviously, same sort of ritual as normal. Now we're just trying to set as many just clean laps as we can, just trying to piece together however many positions we can. I know it's not on the screen, but at this point I think I was 16th out of 18th. There was only a couple of cars behind me at the point that I actually rejoined the track. But obviously we've regained a couple now, so we are just sort of going to whiz through and just sort of see what positions we can make. McLaren, a very, very stable car through here. It's a lovely car to drive. I've used a few different cars, and this one by far is just sort of rotates a lot better through those corners, and you can really go through them quite confidently. As the Ferrari goes wide out there, so I sort of try and maximise the exit, get on the throttle as early as possible. Ends up becoming a bit of a drag race down here as we go side by side. I don't get the pull I thought I would have had out of there, and we come into the dangerous 130R side by side. He tucks in behind me. He knows that he's going to let me through. He'd rather that than lose the race there. As we come in nice and quick, we'll see how much time he gains on us here. Oh, makes contact on us going into the chicane. We turn right, we turn left, we leave space for him as this Porsche just cooks it, just turns left as it starts to go right. Don't know what he's doing, don't know where he's going, but it don't matter. We had the Ferrari really close to us in the little camera there we got in the back as he just sniffs my cheeks. Now, he probably knows what I had for dinner. I can't remember what I had for dinner last night, but he can tell you can probably smell it. We just sort of try and keep him at bay, try and keep him behind us as we sort of, I always say sort of, I don't know why, whizzing around, little left, right, got on this little pack in front. I don't know how many cars we got up here, 4 or 5, as we just try and get as much time shaved off that gap as possible. We want to flip away from this Ferrari. One of them goes up on the grass there, so we think we can get a better run if we just maximise the exit up that hill. We do get a pretty good run. Ferrari is still tucked nice behind us, so we just try and brake nice and late. 2 of these cars slide off there. We think we're going to make contact. We managed to slip through the middle. That was a lucky escape. Fly around that corner as the Ferrari just sends it into the sand. A lot of people not really trying to race the way I thought they would. I thought you'd have to get to the finish line, not try and cut through the barrier just to get to the end the quickest. That's kind of illegal, mate. Each to their own. Do quite like the look of that McLaren at the back, the one with the green and the purple. It does look quite nice, but obviously we got the gold and the nice sort of metallic blue on mine. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. And just a reminder, I'm trying to get this channel to go from racing in my room to racing in real life. So you just do me a favour, if you've watched this far, and whack that subscribe button for me. That will be amazing. Okay, so coming down here, eyes on this McLaren in front as we come into this hairpin. Now I can tell you a single corner name, a single corner number, apart from 130R, and I don't even know what turn number that is. There's 20 something turns on the track. Is about all I can tell you. A few of them are pretty good, a few of them are pretty annoying. But that doesn't matter. We're coming around this quite nice bend. That's quite a nice sort of arc as we come around that line into this left-hander, just trying to gain as much time as possible on this McLaren in front. Get a good exit from that corner, hoping to gain a few tenths possibly down this straight, because I mean, yeah, we got knocked really far back. We were doing pretty well up in the front right on the first few corners. It was heartbreaking to let this go. Bearing in mind, the entire time that I was driving this race, I was so aggressive, not overly aggressive, but I was just, do you know what I mean? I wanted the smoke, wanted the beef. That McLaren peels off into the pit lane. I thought we was going to have a 3-way McLaren sort of battle, and he was just like, nah, he didn't want the smoke. Move over to the inside to guard this guy off. We know we're going to go for a move, as I say, not hanging about. Later than him on the brakes by a long run. Just sort of hook it round and ping that baby over towards the next corner. We got a bit of a gap to him now, which is pretty good. Just to hope, obviously, to build that gap and get closer to this Ferrari that we've got rolling around up front. I mean, that was a smooth as chips transition. You cannot tell me that you've seen any transition smoother than that. I was in exactly the same point 2 laps, cut it out, pasted it there, put a little swoosh swoosh. There we go, up on the Ferrari. Now this Ferrari, I've been sort of gaining up on him for a few corners coming up to this, but I have cut that out. But this guy was just getting in my way. I mean, he basically stops in front of me. He lets that McLaren that I was getting away from come right up next to me again and sort of bring us closer together. So we're now in like a 3-way fight for this position. And I see myself in the middle of that, which isn't good. It's not fun, puts me in a little stressful position. I don't want to go backwards. I need to focus on going forwards. Sort of like that question, you know, if you go forward, you go deeper inside your dad. If you go back, you go deeper inside you, or your brother goes deeper in you, or something like that. Basically, well, in that situation, I wouldn't rather go forward, but in this one, I need to go forward. I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to be entered by this McLaren behind me. Try and cut a left. We sort of try and follow that Ferrari through, but he just goes through quicker. I go too wide, and this McLaren gets in front of me. So we zip straight in. They go a little bit slower on this chicane here, so I don't actually lose too much time, thankfully. It was a good place to lose it of anywhere. But it does obviously move me from the middle to the back, so now I can do the entering. And I've got to get up past these guys. I plan to go for a move down here. I'm normally a lot later than most people on the brakes into this corner. As we change to a more cinematic sort of camera and we edge in, we're right next to this McLaren. We're trying to bring it out wide. This Ferrari slows down. I nearly hit his back and I managed to just last second move out of his way, swing to the right and tuck myself in behind this McLaren. The other Ferrari that's been slowly following us has gotten around that Ferrari that we had in front. So he is now trying to chase us two down, and I'm just trying to get back in front of this McLaren here. So we'll just roll around. I'll stay close to his back end as I can and just keep marching up and down the curves and the straights. So I switch to the POV camera, do a little oversteer as we come through that, but I do like spectating it from this perspective, going around these curves here. They are quite satisfying when you get them right. I sort of get a bit of oversteer as well. I'm really trying to catch up to this McLaren here. I'm sort of fed up with being behind him at this point, as he does oversend it and he overshoot that corner a little bit, gets himself up on the grass, and I can slyly slide my way through. Bomb it into that right-hander there. The Ferrari keeping a consecutive distance to us. He's not falling too far behind. He's not gaining too much. He's pretty happy where he is, which is quite nice. Move to the inside to try and cover that McLaren off. It does sort of jeopardise my exit. I do oversteer a little bit. I have to catch that back so I don't get the run that I wanted to away from him. And you can see he's right behind me there. So I'm just interested in trying to cover this inside line off. So you see I move over to the left of the track here. I want to make it as difficult as I can for him to move past, because I haven't got any cars in front of me really. It's a big gap to anyone in front. So I can't really gain any position, so the best and the smartest thing for me to do is to just try and fend him off. But my fending doesn't do enough. He gets right up next to me and we are drag racing yet again up into this left-hander, who is going to be the one that comes out victorious. I let him go up in front, tuck him behind him. Let him go in front or he gets up in front. That's up for debate. I let him up, that's what I'll tell you. That's my side of the story. Brake nice and late into the chicane. He doesn't go too quick, so I do get nice and close to that blue bumper of his. And I just put my foot down, trying to whiz up on him. Still got that Ferrari in my rear view mirror. Not really something that I want to worry about right now. I'm a lot closer to this guy. He moves over to the inside. I'm not really sure why he did that. He probably cost himself a little bit of time because he does move over to the left. I do try and brake a bit later, but he covers me off, so I don't want to crash into him. It does mean I go a bit wide here. So into first gear just to rotate it, ping it back into second. Just trying to save every single microsecond that I can and just try and get as close up to him as I can. Because this Ferrari I now see is just starting to get closer and closer, and I would much rather not have him on my back end while trying to get around this McLaren either. So we'll just stay where we are for the minute, try and keep this position, look for an opportunity and just shut off any threat from that Ferrari. And just paying attention to what line he's taking, trying to brake not too much later than him. I don't want to go in the back of him, snap of oversteer, but obviously we save it, and he manages to just oversend it. He's gone wide again. I get right up round him and the Ferrari follow, so he's gone straight to the back of our three-way battle. The Ferrari's tucked himself in. I overshoot the corner, but manage to sort of maximise what I can out of the acceleration there, and just see myself leading that little three-way pack that we had over towards the finish line. Not on the last lap yet. We've got 2 more laps to go, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave those last 2 laps without me commentating, just let it finish the race off without my voice, so you can enjoy obviously the sound of the engine from the inside cockpit that we'll do for the first lap, and then just a nice trackside camera for the second lap. So, I mean, if you've made it as far as we've gotten so far, I mean, I've been here talking for the better part of 14 minutes, and you're probably sick of my voice, but if you have come this far, thank you. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think of the video down in the comment section, and yeah, I'll leave you guys to enjoy the race as I come into the last chicane here.